What's up, Bills fans? It's that time of year again. It's a fun time of year for football fans. You get kind of removed from the game. You see all the free agents, comings and goings. I know the Bills haven't been overly active in free agency, but that's not the worst thing in the world. Um, they won free agency last year, but that didn't translate to the football field. Um, so I mean, I would hasten Bills fans to not overreact to them not being as active, trying to be a little bit wiser where they spend their money. Not overpaying for Levitri. I was a fan of that move. Cutting Fitzpatrick, even though they do get to split up the cap hit between this and next year. It's a good move because you got to get better at quarterback. I mean, I could have made one Bills video last year, which was the first video I did after the opener, the truth video, where I I was like most Bills fans. I tried to have unseen what I had seen with Fitzpatrick and hope that it was the rib. The first 5 to 7 games was the real him, but it wasn't. What he was is what he showed all last year and the last 9 games of 11. That's who he is. Turnover prone, inconsistent, just arm, a challenged arm, a good guy. But if that's the most you can say about him, he's definitely not going to be the guy that's going to take you or take the Bills where we all want them to go. And that's just the facts. You have to want better at quarterback. It's like San Francisco. They took a huge risk benching a quarterback who had the highest completion percentage in the NFL because their coach said, you know what, this guy brings something else to the table that Alex Smith doesn't. And it's just not the mobility. It's just not the arm strength and the size. There's something else there. And you saw it. You saw it in the playoffs. You saw it in the Super Bowl where they were down in games. It was never rattled. Never rattled, as calm and as relaxed as you could be for a quarterback that not a true rookie, but pretty much. And that's what teams that turn a corner do. They make that huge. They take that huge chance at quarterback. Russell Wilson, another prime example. He's only a third-round pick. Seattle just paid an okay amount of money for Matt Flynn in free agency. They see what they see in training camp, OTAs, mini camp, preseason. They're like, you know what? This guy, forget his height, he makes us a better football team on Sunday. And that could have been a huge blow up in their face. But you know what? Look what it did for him. A few plays away from an NFC Championship game and possibly a trip to the Super Bowl. And yet, you just again and again, Bills fans, I have to say it. It's gotta be a quarterback at 8. It has to be. It's just and people will say, well, oh, it's too risky. What's risky about it? You have to do it. I just think Bills fans are so used to the Bills not taking quarterbacks that they're just kind of preconditions to just not take quarterbacks or expect quarterbacks to be taken. And I can understand that. I can name the last 4 quarterbacks the Bills have drafted on one hand. One hand. Which is unbelievable considering the lack of success that this organization has had. And to have the most paramount position be neglected for so long. And you want to talk about risk at quarterback and picking a quarterback 8? Okay, I have to do some history with Bills fans about the Bills. Jim Kelly basically had his arm, his throwing arm, almost ripped off of his body against Virginia Tech when he played at Miami. Completely tore his right shoulder up. Some doctors said he'd never play football again. He didn't play a whole year of college because he had the rehab, and let it be known going into the draft he didn't want to go to a cold place. He didn't want to go to play football in a cold weather environment. He'll even tell you today he didn't want to go. And he didn't. He went to the USFL for the Houston Gamblers. So all this stuff like, oh, he's not used to playing in cold weather, we don't want him here. The best quarterback in the history of the team was that guy. I don't care what he did at East Brady High School in Pennsylvania. The bulk of his major quarterback play was played indoors or in warm weather. At Miami or in a dome in Houston, the Astrodome. And he was the 14th overall pick. Knowing all this information, Buffalo still took him. And he didn't play in Buffalo for 3 years because he'd rather play in the USFL. Well, 2 years because he finally played in 84 and in 85. He only played 2 seasons. But he hadn't played football since, I think, 81 or 82 because of the injury. So talk about risk. That's a huge risk. And it's one that Buffalo didn't look good doing at the time, but you have to take it at the most important position. It's always been the most important position, especially in today's NFL. So when Bills fans talk about this risk and, oh, it's too risky to take any of these quarterbacks at 8, no, it's not. It's not risky to take any of them at 8. Take 2. To me, that's just common sense. But with today's developments, with Matt Flynn going to Oakland, obviously Alex Smith and KC, I believe at 8, and I've said this in other videos. I haven't quite said this is my pick, and I'm sticking with it. But Geno Smith to the Bills at 8, it's just meant to be. I think he's the quarterback, in my opinion, with a lot of the things you look for. He's mobile. He's definitely more pocket passer, but he uses mobility to throw, not to run. And I'm not, scared by this idea, oh, he didn't look good in the snow at Yankee Stadium. So what? So, how many terrible weather games has Buffalo had in the last? I can think of a few. Jacksonville was kind of ugly last year. But before that, what else? There's been a few. Quarterbacks make throws in wind. West Virginia is not the best of weather. He plays in altitude up, it's pretty high up there where they play. They get some wind, they get snow. So it's not like he's coming from, Texas or Southern California or any place like that. Not that that's an issue to me anyway, because I think that's bogus. Don't take Matt Barkley because of the prior USC quarterback. That makes no sense. They're different people, different players. It makes no sense. It's just the rationale behind that it doesn't make sense. Geno Smith, I just think is the guy that makes the most sense. He's the most logical. And I believe he'll be the pick at 8 for the Buffalo Bills. And in the second round, if he's available, because mocking 1 round is hard enough, let alone 2. I think he could possibly be there, and if he is there, I would definitely think the Bills would strike DeAndre Hopkins from Clemson. His hands are like a vacuum for the football. He's more quick than he is fast, but he gets open, and more importantly, he gets open in the red zone. 18 touchdowns last year, and his production has gotten better, and he's got some decent run after the catch skills. He's a lot more physical than people think he is. He's got good size. His hands, again, are just sick, and I just think that he would be a perfect fit with Stevie, with Graham. I think people kind of forget about Graham. I think they kind of like, oh, Donald Jones, and they're so in love with this idea of, David Nelson and Donald Jones being gone. They kind of forget, well, Graham was drafted in the 3rd round. They're going to look for him to contribute a lot more this year. And hopefully it's contributing in a bigger way than just, running 2 yards or stepping back 2 yards so Fitz could throw him the ball, because that's all he could do. Unfortunately, it's supposed to be your deep threat. So, Bills fans, those are the 2 picks I'm sticking with. Those are the ones that I'm calling. Geno Smith at 8 to the Buffalo Bills, and with their second pick, their second round pick, DeAndre Hopkins from Clemson. All right, Bills fans, let's hear the comments and feedback. I'm definitely waiting for it. I really appreciate it. Like or dislike the videos. Again, I really appreciate your time. I hope you guys have a good weekend.